One sec. Started.
Have you started?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. My name is Allan Pallay, and this is the Sunday morning service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Pottstown on November 15th, 2020. I'm a member of the congregation and will be the lay leader and speaker today. I welcome those who have tuned in this morning and those who may be seeing this recorded service sometime in the future. Due to COVID, our services have recently been virtual, but we look forward to getting back to having services in our building at our beautiful country site as soon as it is safe to do so. We are a congregation that welcomes all. Whether you are seeing us with spirits high or spirits low, we welcome you. Whether your beliefs tend towards atheism or theism, liberalism or conservatism, we welcome you. We welcome all who are searching, seeking, looking for more knowledge, more service, more friendship. Our religion, Unitarian Universalism, is built on 7 ethical principles. You can find them at our website under the tab Be Our Guest. With those principles in mind, we consider a wide array of topics in our various Sunday morning services, and we have a wide array of speakers, including our ministers, members of our congregation, and speakers from outside our fellowship. This morning, I will be the lay leader and speaker, so I will lead the various elements of the service and then make a presentation. The title of my presentation is What is Right with America and Some of What is Wrong. At the end, there will be time for you to say what you think about this. Okay, we're ready for announcements. Do we have any announcements?
Yes, I have an announcement.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that you guys got the slide that I tried to send to you from the UU Justice PA group. They apparently, they are saying that, we had a win in the election last week, but we had a lot of losses as well. But what we really have to focus on is making sure that the Senate is at least evenly divided, so that we have a way to have the president finally get his agenda through. So if anybody realizes how important this is and would like to help, the UU Justice PA group has been amazingly organized, and they've joined with other groups to set up a phone bank, text bank, all this other stuff. And they're amazingly, they've taken all the pain out of trying to help. They do say that it is possible to just send money if that's all you want to do. But if you feel any anxiety, please join their phone banks on Sundays from now until January 5th, when the election will take place, and be a part of making every effort to get an evenly divided Senate on the national level. And that's it. And you can contact me if you feel like you need to get more information or talk about anything. The UU Justice Group is really quite amazing now. So thank you.
Thank you, Trish. Thanks for being attending to this important matter.
Yeah.
Any other announcements? Okay, chalice lighting. We don't have many rituals in Unitarian Universalism. One of them is lighting the chalice. It's an event that marks the beginning of the main part of our service, where we change the focus of our minds from our everyday activity, from our to-do list, to a more relaxed, contemplative state. And I'm going to ask Mary to light the chalice. Okay, well, that's a real flame, isn't it? Okay. Joys and concerns. We are
Yeah, I put a bigger flame because the little one wasn't showing. So,
okay, good, good. I see it. It's a nice flame. Being part of a caring community is one of the pleasures of our fellowship. One expression of that aspect of our fellowship is the reporting of our joys and concerns. If you have a joy or concern, please let us know. Anybody have a joy or concern they want to share?
Well, I do. Again, I spoke with my family last night about our plans to meet for Thanksgiving. And I am broken to say that I decided I didn't think it was wise for them to come. It's been a hellish year for me. And I'm convinced that I will catch COVID if there's any opportunity for me to get it, because things go bad. When they go bad, they go real bad. So I'm sad for myself and them, but also for all of you who have this decision to make. How can we be with our loved ones, and how can we not be with them? And I'm hoping that we all find ways to give thanks anyway for whatever good we have in our life. That's all.
Thank you, Trish.
I just want to say thank you again to John and Kay. Best fire ever. I don't see John, but that was an awesome campfire last night and good turnout. And yes, and I understand, Trish, with the Thanksgiving. I usually go to Madison, but about 6 weeks ago, my sister said, "Don't you dare." So, well, Wisconsin, they're at a 30% positive rate right now for everybody they test. So she said, just stay away. And so we're going to have dinner over Zoom.
Okay, any more joys and concerns? Kay, you need to unmute yourself, Kay. We're still not hearing you.
We still can't hear you. You're unmuted, but we can't hear you. Is your sound bar up?
Can you hear us, Kay? But we can't hear you. We don't know sign language, unfortunately. I don't. Maybe.
And we can't read lips.
Okay. Okay. Let us hold in our hearts those who have spoken and those who have been mentioned, and be mindful that there are undoubtedly concerns among us that are unspoken. I have a strong emotional attachment to our country, and I think there are good things about us. But I certainly don't think we are the greatest country in the world. And it embarrasses me when I hear politicians or others say so. There is a song called "This Is My Song" that beautifully expresses a similar sentiment. I believe we heard it last week. I wasn't here last week, but I think it's good enough to hear again. I'm going to ask Carly to play it through, and then I'm going to read the two stanzas out from the hymnal. Carly? Thank you, Carly. This is my song, O God of all nations, a song of peace for lands afar and mine. This is my home, the country where my heart is. Here are my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. But other hearts in other lands are beating with hopes and dreams as true and high as mine. My country's skies are bluer than the ocean, and sunlight beams on clover and pine. But other lands have sunlight too and clover, and skies are everywhere as blue as mine. Oh, hear my song, thou God of all nations, a song of peace for their land and mine. This morning, I'm going to mainly talk about what's good about America. But before I get into that, I want to acknowledge straight off one of our great sins, our past history of harsh discrimination against African Americans and discrimination by some Americans that still exist to this day. I will do this by reading part of a poem, Let America Be America Again, written by the Black poet Langston Hughes in 1936 during a time of harsh discrimination. Let America be America again. Let it be the dream it used to be. Let it be the pioneer on the plain seeking a home where he himself is free. America never was America to me. Let America be the dreamer's dream. Let it be the great strong land of love where never kings connive or tyrants scheme, that any man be crushed by one above. It never was America to me. Oh, let my land be a land where liberty is crowned with no false patriotic wreath, but opportunity is real and life is free. Equality is in the air we breathe. There's never been equality for me, nor freedom in this homeland of the free. I am the poor white fooled and pushed apart. I am the Negro bearing slavery's scars. I am the red man driven from the land. I am the immigrant clutching the hope I seek and finding the same old stupid plan of dog eat dog, of mighty crush the weak. Oh, let America be America again, the land that never has been yet, and yet must be, the land where every man is free, the land that's mine, the poor man's, Indians, Negroes, me. Who made America? Whose sweat and blood, whose faith and pain, whose hand at the foundry, whose plow in the rain, must bring back our mighty dream again. Oh yes, I say it plain. America never was America to me. And yet I swear this oath, America will be. This poem rightly has a critical tone, but I chose it for this talk because I don't see it as completely critical. It seems to me he uses the word America to mean something that is at least partly good, at least good in concept. He calls for America to be America. And he asserts that the concept of America will be realized when he says at the end, America will be. Lately, there's been a lot of criticism of America in the news media, our policing policies, our treatment of immigrants, our response to COVID-19, and more. The strongest criticisms, however, have come from our own organization, the Unitarian Universalist Association, UUA for short, and affiliated groups. America has often been described in various UUA media as having a white supremacy culture and a structurally racist system. In a number of UUA documents, we have been described as being a police state and even engaging in ongoing genocide. While I question whether some of these criticisms are fair and accurate, I do believe that some are warranted, and they serve a good purpose to point out where we need to improve and motivate us to do so. But I think there is a lack of balance, especially from the UUA. We hear only the bad. But why should we be concerned about that? There are several reasons. We guide our government with our vote and other political actions. As you use our fifth principle urges us to affirm and promote the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large. To do that, we need to recognize what is good in our society and should be preserved, what is good enough and necessary and should be kept, yet perhaps reformed, and what we should tear down. Being too critical can lead us to tear down too much, to judge what is good as bad because it's not perfect. And being too critical keeps us from feeling the healthy emotion of appreciation. Appreciation for what we have. Just a glance around the world or a brief look at history shows us how bad things are in some other places and were at some other times. So here is a brief personal view of a few things that I think are right about America. I begin with our history, which has been also criticized a great deal. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to ensure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. One of the great statements of human ideals written in our Declaration of Independence. True, the history of England provided some precedents, and the Enlightenment philosophers expressed most of these ideas. Nevertheless, these words were great because they were not just a philosophical treatise. They were part of a call to action and a mission statement for a nation. True, Black people were left out at the time, and this needs to be substantially weighed against us. But Martin Luther King said it well when the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Declaration of Independence. They were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. We, the people of the United States of America, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States of America. So says the preamble of our Constitution. At the time, it was a great advance in governance. The framers of the Constitution rejected the European tradition of monarchy, a nobility or a hereditary legislative chamber, placing their trust in a government of the people. A government that comes to power by counting heads instead of breaking them. Again, we should keep in mind that at the time, most Black people were slaves. And yes, we started with a somewhat limited number of voters, but in better proportion than any other country at that time. And suffrage was expanded generation by generation until it came to include all adults of both sexes. And at most points, America set the pace for the old world. The writer Carrie Shake put it this way: Americans are not good at getting things right at the outset, but we are good at making things right over time. Skip ahead to December 1941. Pearl Harbor is attacked, the Nazis declare war on America. By that time, we had become a great industrial power. But as to war, our fascist enemies thought we didn't have the stomach or the discipline for the fight ahead. By the time it was over, we paid a heavy price, about 400,000 American men killed and about 700,000 wounded. But our involvement was instrumental in saving the world from what could have been perhaps the greatest catastrophe in human history, a victory by the Nazis. We emerged from the war as the strongest economic and military power in the world. History shows us that time and again, the strong dominate the weak, and to the victor go the spoils. The Soviet Union, the other great power at war's end, installed unpopular puppet governments in the Eastern European countries that their armies liberated. We did not force our will on the countries we liberated in Western Europe, or attempted to profit from our dominant position. Rather, we respected the democratic wishes of the people and provided substantial aid to help rebuild the war-torn economies of not only our allies, but our former enemies. For example, in the 12 months following World War II, we shipped 17 million tons of food aid to Europe, including Germany and Japan. That was 1/6 of the total food production of the United States at that time. Election days, November 2008 and November 2012. Great moments in American history. The American people elected and re-elected an African-American president. And of course, November 2020, another great moment. The American people elected a ticket that included an Indian African-American woman as vice president. I hasten to add that I do not imply that those who voted against these candidates were wrong. I believe you ought to vote for a candidate you feel will do the best job for the country, regardless of the candidate's identity. I only say there were great moments because it shows what is possible in America. Sojourner, spirit, opportunity, curiosity. Here are the names of 4 robotic vehicles called rovers that we landed on Mars. Here was a spectacular example of human ingenuity in the service of exploration and deepening our understanding of the world. This is just one example of our achievements in science and technology. Americans have won more Nobel Prizes in the sciences than any other country. And in the 2 most respected yearly measures of industrial innovation, we have always been among the top 10, some years the first. As Americans, we can feel quietly proud about these achievements. The Windows operating system, the Google search engine, Microsoft Word. These are a few of the many standout products from the American economy that have enriched the quality of my life and the lives of countless others all over the world. For example, roughly 77% of the world's computers are run by Windows. That would be small computers. And roughly 90% use Google as a search engine. We lead the world in overall economic output and are among the top 10 on a per capita basis. That output makes it possible for a majority of Americans to have a middle class or greater standard of living, to get a good education, to have leisure time. We have a political economic system that has produced a remarkably productive society. It's something I think we should appreciate. But now, having achieved that, from my point of view, it's time for us to turn some of that productive energy toward 3 remaining challenges we have neglected. Lessening economic inequality, improving the social safety net, and making our economic system more environmentally friendly, more sustainable. The Grand Canyon, Zion, Yosemite, the Great Smoky Mountains, the Adirondacks, French Creek, Warwick. The thing I love most about our country is the land. And one of our great policy achievements in this area is the creation of our national, state, and county parks. And for me, another great policy achievement was the Wilderness Act of 1964. Perhaps I feel more strongly about this than most. It says a wilderness is hereby recognized as an area where the earth and its community of life are untrampled by man. Currently, the National Wilderness Preservation System encompasses about 109 million acres. Upon signing the act, President Lyndon Johnson said, "If future generations are to remember us with gratitude rather than contempt, we must leave them with more than the miracles of technology. We must leave them with a glimpse of the world as it was in the beginning, not just after we got through with it." There is, however, more work to be done in this area. These are a few things that I see are right about America. But tens of millions of others have weighed in on this. They have voted with their feet, our immigrants. Even to this day, in the face of an administration that is hostile to immigration, millions of people want to come here, and many have risked their lives to do so, and very few want to leave. Finally, I want to make it clear that I have given my personal views based on my own limited background knowledge and the research I did for this presentation. I do not claim expertise in any of the areas I have touched on. Also, there is much, much more that could be said about the points I made. Time did not permit a deeper dive into these issues. Now it's your turn to comment, add, subtract, dispute, say what you think about this. And remember to unmute your microphone before you speak. Any comments?
I will say that I'm very, very grateful for your words today, because it seems to me that is exactly what we need to be doing, to be paying attention to what we have rather than what we don't have. And despite the fact that Google and Microsoft and everything, part of the big tech, are being attacked in every way, they have made our lives richer, and you've been very helpful. And we have to remember that when we look for ways to improve. And I can't speak in a more heartfelt way about what you said about the environment. It seems to me that we are so wrong-headed on this. And if we could just realize that there's so much we could do, so much that we haven't even begun. And Pennsylvania is one of the worst, so backward about preserving our economy. I mean, our wildlife economy. And I think we can do much better. And it's heartbreaking, but something that we have to strive for all the time. Nothing is given. We just have to keep trying and trying and trying. Thank you.
I just have a quick response to that about the economy and the environment and sustainability. You know, we talk about wanting to increase the gross national product, to grow the economy, grow the economy, grow the economy. I think we need to shrink the economy, actually,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
order to be sustainable in the long run. You can't say that. Nobody would get elected on the platform to shrink the economy. And I think we do enjoy the material benefits of the vibrant economy, but I think there is, I have that feeling as well. Anybody else?
Well, it sort of follows and leads into the second half of my climate talk. And one of the things that he has in there is that doing something about the climate change and everything is actually beneficial to the economy. Where it's, the Republicans, the people against doing anything always say we can't afford to do it because it's too expensive. And it's actually more expensive not to do something because of all the damage and all the things that are happening. And so anyway, but I really liked your talk. I thought it was very good. And I'm just thinking, it's wonderful about nature. And like driving home from the campfire the other day, the first time a deer ran in front of me. Last night, I swear it was a coyote.
Oh,
I was like, I got this thing, it just went right in front of me. And I'm like, what's the size and everything like that? I just caught it off on the other side. And it's the only thing I could come up with based on size and color. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing that there's a, but, and the other thing I thought was about, I don't remember who else was in, John and Kay were here, I think, when we voted maybe 20 years ago now to actually increase our earned income tax by, I think it was 1/8% to buy land for the North Coventry to actually buy land and set it aside. And I can't, the last count, I can't remember how many acres they'd already bought and how much money they'd already spent. And I had there was a friend over there, or a fellow in our development, and he was so mad at all the retirees voting to increase the working people's tax. I said, well, I'm working and I voted for it. And he didn't like that, but I thought that was an amazing thing that we actually voted to increase our own taxes strictly for land.
anybody else? Okay. I would love to hear. Oh, go Kay. We can't hear you, Kay.
We still can't hear you, Kay.
We want to. We really want to. All right.
And have to figure it out before coffee hour.
Okay. So the final closing hymn, I think sometimes it said, is "We'll Build a Land," and so I'll ask Carly to play it through, and then I'll read 2 stanzas of it.
Allan,
Yes.
Ginny posted on the chat, I think that when a people are abused, it takes many, many more caring things to happen to undo, diffuse what was done. Even those who haven't had any part in the damage done seem to be thrown into having responsibility in making amends. I think one thing our fellowship can do is to make our fellowship more welcoming to people who are not white, is to adjust our music so that the mood can be set for people of different color, regions, origins, to be more comfortable.
Nice comment. I agree with that. I think if we had greater diversity in our fellowship, it would be, for me, it would be more fun to have greater diversity. Not that people, I'm not having fun already, but having even more fun.
I'd like to speak to that, Ginny's comment. Yesterday, for example, I attended a 2-hour workshop with the Sweet Adelines International. And for people who may not be familiar with their history, it's only recently that they have allowed people of color to be members. And so in the meantime, they've moved along, and we do have a good number of mixed race or different racial backgrounds in the organization. But the music remains, has remained insulting and sort of born of the Tin Pan Alley music that attributed negative characteristics to people of color. So, and if it was challenged, people would be upset, and it was causing some trouble. So recently, SAI decided that they would no longer be willing to go along with this, and they have created an assessment tool and have new rules about music that you can use. And there's a tool that you can use that looks into the history of each particular song, whether it was written, and I won't go into details, but is it respectful? And does it have a history that hurts people? So that, and this is what was presented yesterday, so that in our audiences, we won't offend people, which is really wonderful. It's a really wonderful first step. And I celebrate the fact that this is global. This is something that's been handed down, that they no longer will support that. So the one thing I noticed at the end was somebody asked about, I just noticed that they were concerned about the audience, and that there was no consideration that the members, the people who belong with them, were also hurt by this, and that needed to be thought about when they were choosing music too. So SAI will not allow you to use doubtful music for competing, but maybe at the end of your rehearsal each week, you might, if nobody would know the difference if you sang a song about Dixie, and or nobody would notice if you sang a coon song, which is a big part of their tradition. So while I am so happy that they are finally acknowledging people's discomfort in our audiences, I hope and I wish that they would just have an awareness that singing, being asked to sing that stuff, is hurtful. And it means that we're excluding people. It means that we're not allowing people in. And I think that that's a lesson that could be taken, by everyone, not just Sweet Adelines, but by everyone, to include everyone, and want those people as a part of your membership, as a part of your unity. So there, I've said it. I didn't say it yesterday, but I said it to you all.
Okay, good. Thank you for your comment. Okay, I'm going to ask Harley to play through We'll Build a Land, and then I'm going to read 2 stanzas from it.
came from Isaiah.
Israelites stole the land from.
But land here does not mean the
Okay, you
ground.
need
It
mute,
means
Dave, I think.
treat each
Yeah.
other.
Okay, I'm going to read the 2 stanzas. We'll build a land where we bind up the broken. We'll build a land where the captives go free, where the oil of gladness dissolves all mourning. Oh, we'll build a land, a promised land that can be. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land where we bring the good tidings to all the afflicted and all those who mourn, and we'll give them garlands instead of ashes, or we'll build a promised land that can be. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters and peace like an ever-flowing stream. Extinguishing the chalice. I'm going to ask Mary to extinguish the chalice. We end our service today by extinguishing the chalice. May the memory of its light and the light of this service stay with us. Now I invite you to join coffee hour.